Uh, name those who were on the scene that night.
Mm-hmm.
Who was on the scene that night, guys? Is that top secret? Mr. Asher, Mr. Phelps, Mr. Stewart, Mr. Lewis, Mr. Sapp's dead now.
Yeah.
Several of the troopers are dead now, but those are still alive from what I understand. Who was there that night? Is that secret? Is that something we don't have, we can't
True.
know?
Mm-hmm.
Who was there that night? We know Earl Beatty found them.
Mm-hmm.
Who was next? Who come in there? Oh crap! What happened? Here, looky here. Who come in there next? Next, next, and next. Who was second on the scene? Who was third?
Mm-hmm.
Who was there? Who and all was finally there all together when they put that Mr. Edrington's body in a bag, put him in the van? Who back in them days they probably brought a hearse out. Back in them days you still using hearses as
Mm-hmm.
pickup vehicles, corner vans. Who
Hmm.
was there, guys? I know it's in the file. I know there's a list of everybody in that file, but guys,
What they
detectives,
see. Yeah.
help us. You guys were there. Put in the comments here. Who was there? What troopers was there? Who was besides Beatty, who was the next one? Who was the next two troopers on the scene? Next three troopers.
How long did it take them to get there?
How long? See, I bet that's
Is
in
that
here,
one?
but I don't know. But that's a
But
good.
that was one of the
If it
questions.
ain't, it should be.
Sorry.
How long? Okay, babe. How long did it take them to get there? How fast were they on the scene?
Mm-hmm.
How far did they have to come? What order did they get there? How fast did they get there? Who was the IC? Who was in charge of that scene?
That's a good
So see,
question.
right now, this is a crime scene. Even before it's ever ruled that, oh, this is a S side, it's a crime scene. Who was in charge? The first officer, Earl Beatty, was he in charge? Was a detective? Who was the first detective on the scene? Was he in charge? We don't know.
Right.
You guys do. You know, some of these people get real hot and been out of shape because there's rumors. Guys, there's rumors because that's all we've got. Give us some facts. We don't have to go with rumors. See, little things like this is not infringing or going to impede a criminal investigation if we ever get an agency or somebody in here. Maybe maybe Cash Patel eventually will put some guys on this. Maybe he'll
It
come
can
in here and
happen.
straighten this out, and we can see. Let's see how embarrassed the state police are then. Guys, you can call it yourself. You can investigate it yourself and give us the truth. Or we're eventually, there's going to be an agency that comes in here, Attorney General's office, FBI, Department of Justice. There's going to be somebody come in and solve this case. And then you are going to look like who was in charge, who
Mm-hmm.
took charge, who collected the evidence,
Yeah. There's your.
who collected the evidence.
That's a good question.
What evidence was collected? What's one of the main pieces of evidence?
His weapon.
Who
Did
took
they
Johnny's
take ballistic? What's it called?
who took
Ballistics.
Johnny's gun that night? Yeah. Who took possession of Trooper Edrington's gun?
Mm-hmm. Did they? This is just me asking a question. It's probably a silly one, but did they compare the bullet that was found, if it was
Question.
found in Mr. Edrington's head,
Question.
with his gun, or did they automatically just assumed it was the S side and said, okay, he.
Yeah. Ain't that a good question? Was the gun shot through and through?
Yeah.
Did the bullet pass through
Yeah.
Trooper Edrington's head?
Mm.
357 point blank, hollow point bullet. I'd say it took off the back of his head.
Oh my Lanta.
Did they find it in the dirt? Did they find it in a tree? Was it still in there at the autopsy? Sheila, that's a good question. Now, the bullet, surely they found the bullet. Surely the bullet was either in beside Mr. Edrington, or it was around there somewhere and they found it.
Well, surely, again, this
Surely.
is just me, but wouldn't that go, like you said, complete through with that big of a 357?
You never know,
Magnum?
babe. You
So,
never know about gunshots. You
Mhm.
can take a 22 and it'll go inside,
Bounce.
hit the skull and stop. You can take one and it goes down and bounces everywhere. You can take you never know.
Exactly.
The
Okay.
medical examiners, they do this all the time. I don't
Mhm.
know. The ones I've never worked the same kind of case twice,
Okay. That's
but
interesting.
they should have recovered the bullet. Now back to your question, which was a good point. The bullet that they recovered, if they recovered a bullet, if they didn't recover a bullet, then throw this case out the window, forget it, because if they didn't even recover the evidence, then this agency's lost all. Goodness sake, sending the Boy Scouts. Something happens to me, sending a bunch of Boy Scouts.
Well, I was just asking because where they're so determined at that time to say it was an S side, did they even check to make sure that they matched? I don't know.
Well, how do we know? How do we know that somebody didn't shoot him with their gun?
Exactly. That's what I'm
I
saying.
knew that's what you was getting to.
That's what I'm
I knew it.
saying.
And then just fire his gun off. They could have fired his gun off into the air. I don't know. I don't know how long somebody was there. I don't know how long
Yeah.
it took them to do this. Was it a spur of the moment thing? It just happened. They're gone.
Yeah.
Somebody took time to put a gun in his hand, because whether he offed himself or
Mhm.
they offed him,
Mhm.
somebody put a gun in his hand. Guns don't fall and land in your hand, guys, after you just shot yourself. They just don't do it. I'm
It just
sorry.
doesn't make sense on that part.
I'm
On that
sorry.
part.
Anything's possible.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
won't rule out nothing. Anything's possible in this
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
You can even jump out of an airplane without a parachute.
But
You won't
how
do it but once, but you can do it.
but how likely is that the weapon would still be in that person's hand and it pointing at the person?
It's not likely.
So that's
It's not likely.
so
Was the gun shot through and through?
yeah.
Was the bullet retrieved in the autopsy or at the scene?
Yeah.
See, that's what the case report will show.
Mhm.
Did they recover the bullet in the mud? Did they get it out of a tree? Was it still in there? Was the
Hillside,
bullet
whatever.
ever recovered at all?
Right.
Surely, to the good Lord, it was, or they are totally incompetent. Now, see, rather than state police letting people sit here and degrade them, and I don't want to degrade, and I'm not degrading all state troopers. There are some good ones.
Well, sure they are.
But rather than let somebody sit here and degrade them, would it not be easier to open up the case and say, guys, go do something on this, go interview these people, go? And you would rather sit there and let somebody talk about your beloved agency as you would to actually go out and investigate and find out what happened. Is that not mind boggling to you people? It's mind boggling that you would rather disgrace not only the lieutenant colonel here, but the colonel that's sitting down there, Philip Burnett Jr.
Well,
You would rather let your agency be disgraced as to actually find out what happened or tell people what happened.
it's been quiet all this time. So maybe they were hoping that people would just forget about it and let it go over time and it would just be something that goes on in history.
Was the ballistics test performed on the gun and the bullet? I know that's what you was talking about earlier. I just didn't want to.
Sorry.
No. Was there a ballistics test? Was the bullet that was taken out of either his head or out of the dirt that passed through his head that would have matter,
Mhm.
blood, fluid on it, was that bullet fired from Trooper Edrington's gun?
Exactly.
He's carrying a 357. Was it a 40 cal bullet that was recovered in his head?
Yeah.
That'd be called a clue. Sheila, you asked a question just now about something, and I went ahead because that was on my mind. I wanted to comment on that, but whatever it was, but
Mhm.
that was a good question. You asked something. Are we 100% sure it was the bullet from Johnny's gun? Was Johnny wearing his coat or his raincoat. Look in the background there.
Mhm.
There's Johnny's coat. There he
Mhm.
is shaking hands with President Bush. He's got his coat on, guys. That would have been the same coat. They don't issue you but one coat unless something happened to it over the course
Over
of
the
time. That's
years.
the same coat he would have had on when he shook hands with George Bush. Now,
Wow.
it's cold that night. We had two weather reports. We put one weather report out, and then we started looking again. Another history come up, and it was a lot warmer because
Yeah.
somebody had wrote, thank you. Somebody wrote and said, if it was that cold, that's awful cold to be raining. And we started looking and stuff, and of course, it rain starts freezing at 32 degrees, so it would have been sleet if it was as cold as what they're saying it was on that one weather.
Yeah.
So Sheila researched another one, and it said
We
the weather
did.
was 50 during the day and 45 or something that night, still cold and rainy.
Mhm.
He would have either had his raincoat on or he would have had that coat on. Look at the next day. Look at, I think it's a Trooper Achardo that's out there across the road, and you'll see them with their rain covers on their hats. You'll see them with their long raincoats on, still raining. Where's that coat there at? We're already missing the shirt.
Yep.
The shirt was missing. It's been vanished for a while. Where's his coat at?
Good question.
You
Good
know,
question.
Asher says that the shirt was in perfect shape. When he unzipped the body bag, perfect shape.
Was
Others have told us that wasn't in perfect shape. Others have told us his tie was out, button missing, because they do. That's what one of our first videos we did that. Because as a police officer, and I've been enough resisting arrest to know that you're going to lose a button. They come off. The pins on the back of your emblems, they come off. Did his jacket? If he had his jacket on, if the uniform shirt was in perfect condition, could it have been because look how he wears his coat?
He had it buttoned up then.
Look how he wears his coat, buttoned up.
Mm-hmm.
I can't see the other trooper there. Very few people that I know of, and it may be their policy with the president there. Maybe they said, hey, everybody button your coats. I don't know. Most people don't button your coats because you want to be able to get to your gun. But I'm looking at the other guy there as I'm looking over top of where they're shaking hands, and you'll see his firearm right there on the outside. So they're wearing low profile coats, so they would tuck them in behind. So he could have buttoned it. Did he miss any buttons off of his coat? We don't know. Was those taken into evidence? Because now there's DNA, see? Was his coat, his shirt, and all that? Now there's DNA. If there was a struggle.
Yep, they could check it and see.
Tell us about the scuff marks on the hood. Tell us about the broken hood ornament. Colonel Asher, Mr. Phelps, Mr. Lewis, Mr. Stewart. Tell the people, the viewers, about the hood ornament broke. About the scratches on the hood of the car. Why did he do that for? Why did a man that was going to off himself do that to the hood of his car? To make it look like a struggle?
That's an awful lot of things to do to make it.
While you're waiting on traffic to go by, while you're... What is or was your theory? Why he walked 20 foot away from his car? Detectives, Mr. Asher, why was he found 20 foot away? The distance to another vehicle's passenger door. And we discussed that in a video a while back. Whereas police officers,
Yesterday, I think
if they parked real close to the road, you don't want to stand on the side of the road. Look at the traffic. Sheila and I almost get run over every time we stop by there. Imagine back in that day and time when there's very few troopers, very few police officers out, how they'd fly up and down these straight highways. So he went to the passenger side. Go ahead, babe.
I was gonna say he did that run around the back of his car if he had his spotlight on. So like you said before, so they wouldn't see him break that light if he had that on there, and he would go to the passenger side.
What was in his cruiser? I seen where they said cruiser was taken into evidence. Really? What was in his cruiser? Did they inventory his cruiser? Did he have coffee? Did he have nabs, snacks, M&Ms?
Do you have any notes on any cases he was working on?
Did he have? Well, that's great, babe. You don't even have that wrote down. That's a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah. Was he making any notes on or making a statement out to somebody of something he'd run up on or found?
Mm-hmm.
Did he have a Game Boy? Game Boys were big back then. A lot of cops carried Game Boys, sit in their car on the side of the road and play Game Boys, football and all this and that. Book? Was he reading a book? Was he looking at a book? Did he have a book? Did he have a puzzle?
Maybe he's doing a crossword.
Was he doing a crossword puzzle? Guys, you were there. You were there. You don't want rumors. Give us some truth. Tell us. Show us you were there. Show us you paid attention to this case. Tell us what was there. What was in his car? Shotgun? His hat was in his car. Did his hat have the cover on it, the plastic cover? Had he been out in the rain with it before? Or did he not have his hat on because he didn't have his rain cover on and he didn't want to mess his hat up that night? Tell us. Tell us what you found.
And where's his coat?
Were there any tire marks where someone peeled out? You know, I know it's raining. I know it's wet. But were there any scuff marks? Even in the rain, if you're getting on it pretty good, you can get to the rubber. You just shot somebody and you're going to try to pull out
casually. Yeah.
Casually? I don't care how casually you're trying to pull out, you're probably going to squill the tires. You're probably going to leave a mark. Was Johnny wearing an ankle holster?
That's a good question.
Was Johnny wearing did he have a
backup?
A backup gun on? Thank you, babe.
It's a great question.
What kind of condition? Who wrote? Somebody wrote this. This is not Fred and this is not Sheila. Thank you, ever who wrote this in a comment.
Thank you all.
What kind of condition was his gun strap in? You remember back in the 70s, 80s, guys, you carried old blackjack, you carried pepper spray, mace, it was called them. Didn't have tasers, didn't have all this stuff, but 357 holster for a police officer, you had nothing more than a strap.
Really?
Nothing more than a strap that went over the holster.
Just to hold it in.
Hold the gun in.
Wow.
Wasn't nothing to come on snap during a struggle. Sometimes the gun was used in killing police officers because it was a crime of opportunity. It was a gun of opportunity. They're fighting, they're struggling. The snap comes off, the gun falls out, and
then the
bad guy sees a gun and says, whoa, boom. What kind of condition was his strap in? Should still be in evidence. Johnny's whole gun belt, everything that he had that night should be in evidence. If it's a reputable, somebody, Doug Asher said the state police was a primary, oh Lord, what's the word he used? Excellent police department, Paramount or something police department. That's what he was bragging on them. But yet he says they mastered cover up. Any brushing, any bruising to his body, scratch marks, etc. Are they? Are they? Because Sheila and I know a little something about this. And here's your question. I may have it on here, Sheila might. Did any of the three detectives or Asher attend the autopsy? Tell us about the autopsy. We don't have the pictures. We don't have the file. Tell us. Did he have any bruises? Did he have any scrape marks where he'd been on the ground fighting? Contusions? People had no problem getting on the news to promote the book. That's funny, you know. People had no problem. Mr. Huntsinker, Mr. Asher had no problem getting on the news. If you want to know who killed Johnny Edrington, you're going to have to dig them up. Wow. Wow, family. Sad you had to hear that because that's about as provable. Sad. Mr. Asher has no problem promoting his book. Shouldn't have no problem showing us the supplemental report that he added to the state police file in London, post 11. Says he added a supplement. He wants it changed from a homicide to an S side. He goes to the state police post 11 to get that done? Really? You really think you're going to get that done at post 11? That's really something where you would get that done at. He wanted to put that file in that report to have it there forevermore. I hope the state police was smart enough not to put it in the report, because that's not part of that file 36 years later with nobody even investigating. Why didn't he do that 35 years earlier? So important to him now to do it. What's the deal, guys? What's the deal? 35 years later, you write a book, and then all of a sudden you put a supplement in a book in case you was to die or something, and after you're dead, somebody comes out. I don't know. I'm talking hypothetically. I'm talking opinion. I'm speculating. I'm talking like this because all we got is rumors to go on.
Right. Right.
I'm not claiming that it happened. I'm saying it could have. I could have a whole head full of hair, but I don't. But I could have. You wouldn't know it underneath that hat. What was so important going out there 35 years later and adding a supplement to a case that
it was all quiet now with his book coming out?
He opened up a hornet's nest with that book, especially with me and you.
And yeah,
Ain't that something how the good Lord works? The Lord works
is always
in
on time,
mysterious
baby.
ways. Just like he led me and Sheila out there to find Mr. Couch. We was in here looking up Doug Harless stuff on YouTube or the computer, and here comes Doug Asher's book.
Yeah, strange.
And that was a case interesting to me through my whole career.
Yeah.
But I was so wrong. And I believed all those years the rumors that people wanted us to believe. It's okay to believe the rumors when they want you to believe them, as long as they're not about them. It's okay to believe a rumor that this man committed homicide. Just don't believe nothing else goes along with it. See, that's not fair. It's not the way it works. But I believe those rumors. For 35 years, I believed that man right there.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why we're on a mission because I feel so guilty. Sheila and I both, we've discussed it every time we go to Pike County through London or talk about Johnny Edrington. Again, we invented a retriever, a gun device. Johnny Edrington and Joe Angelucci was the two we used because they was both killed with their own guns. It's okay to promote a book, talk about it on the news, but boy, you try to get some facts out of somebody or show us some pictures. We know you got copies. We know you got. There's not a police officer out there that's not worked homicides or suicides and different things. And coroners. There's not coroners. When I was in the police academy, a coroner brought videos and albums of photographs in their suicides and different things. And us cops, everybody's all over them trying to, young age, you're trying to look at different. They keep these. That's their book. Woof. Telling secrets. Only way to find out his murder is to dig him up. I don't know how that would tell us. How's that going to tell us, Mr. or Dr. Huntsinker? How if we go dig Johnny Edrington up tomorrow, how's that going to tell us that he offed himself? See, it's not. It's not. Don't tell us no more than you knew that night or the next morning when you done the autopsy. Don't tell us no more than you knew. You went on what 4 troopers told you and the Loyal County coroner. You went on what they told you was a homicide or a homicide, and that's the way you ruled. And that's why nobody went along with you 6. That's why there was only 6. The 4 instigators, the 4 people that done it, started it, and then they're either too proud or there's something else that made them never want to change their story. It's my story, and I'm sticking to it. It was an side. Even when other factors proved differently, even when the FBI, even when the famous doctor,
Vincent DeMayo.
Vincent DeMayo. I can say it after you say it. I just can't think of it myself. I once believed that, but not anymore. Title of this chapter is correct. Title of Doug Asher's chapter is correct. Big Gray Cover-Up. This was a cover-up, all right. Question is, was it a cover-up of a side or a murder?
Mm.
What was the true relationship of all those involved?
There you go.
What was the true relationship? We now know Lieutenant Colonel Asher and Jack and Patty were not
Right.
lifelong friends.
Right.
I'm not going to try to find it. Yeah, or
You're going,
It
where he said that in his
says-
book?
yeah, it says in there that Jack Asher says that him
Mm-hmm.
and Johnny Edrington's parents were
Well, I know he
lifelong
said that.
friends.
Seems like he said that in the interview because he was talking about his parents.
Oh no, he says it in writing too.
Okay.
He says they were lifelong friends
Mm-hmm.
and that but yet they were not.
Okay.
It's on one of those 2 pages.
Okay. I'll look where you go ahead.
Yet they were not. John Edrington, Johnny's dad was named John, but they called him Jack. Jack and Patty had in fact had Lieutenant Colonel Asher removed. No information whatsoever. The file from the London Post was sent to Frankfurt. But how did that affect this case? Because you still had the 3 detectives in London working the case, and they worked for Doug Asher. Hey, Lewis, what's going on that case? Hey, Stewart. Hey, Phelps, where y'all at on that Edrington thing? That keep them from finding things out? Probably didn't, but it sure hurt his feelings. We know the Edringtons had asked for that no information be shared with Asher after certain things had happened.
Mm-hmm.
Certain things were said, certain things were done. Did that really happen? With his own detectives investigating the case? Understand, we have to ask these questions. We don't have the file. So you guys can say it's rumors. You guys can say it's slander. You guys can say it's whatever you want to call it. It's because we don't have a file to go by and we're inquisitive and we're asking questions. We're not blaming nobody. We're not accusing nobody. We're simply asking questions. Apparently, we can't believe everything in a book or on a news interview. See, we can't go by what's in that book there because it doesn't line up with the evidence with the FBI and these other doctors and medical examiners and stuff. Therefore, we have to ask questions. Sometimes the questions may seem insulting. We're very sorry. It's all we got to go on because the file's locked away in
Right.
Frankfurt. Find it?
No, I've not been. Are you sure?
In Asher's, no, it may be on the back page. Try the back page there. Maybe on that. Well, there's only 5 pages. Okay, it ain't there. So it'd be, go
Could be one of
forward.
these. Okay. You keep
In
talking.
Asher's book, why wasn't the supplement added to his book? Isn't that something? Wouldn't that have been a great place to put the supplement that he talks about? I went by the state police post and dropped the supplement off to the file. Why didn't he put that supplement so we could read it? What he left there to put in the file? Can we see a copy of it today? Of what was so important? This is the Asher. Lieutenant Colonel Asher, can you post a picture of it on here? Can you send us an email? Can you send us a text, a photo? So we can see and talk about what was so important and relevant to the Johnny Edrington case that you added at 35 years later? Did he name someone in the supplement that may have relevance to Johnny's death? Wow. Now that would be something. Did he actually name somebody and he wanted to put that in the file that he thought maybe the state police should take a second look at? Is that what it is? That would be nice. That would be. Sorry, guys. We have to put this back on you, as you guys can help clear up a lot of the questions. Talking to Asher, talking to the 3 detectives. Sorry, fellas. We have to throw it back at you because we don't have nothing. State police got the file locked away. You've got it here. You probably more than likely got the case at your house, but you've got it here too. Questions that we've asked today on this video, you could sit there and spit off the answer to every one of them probably. Why didn't Asher interview the 3 detectives in that chapter of his book? Why doesn't he have nothing in here? He says that everybody's still in agreement today. Would have been a good place to interview them. He says he talked with each one before the print. What was Asher and Johnny's relationship? That's a good question, babe.
Yeah.
That's a good question. She'll ask that one. What was Johnny and Post
Mhm.
Commander, Lieutenant Colonel or Captain at the time, Asher's relationship? Were they friendly with each other? Were they friends? Were they supervisor and employee? Did Asher ever discipline Johnny for anything whatsoever? Was there, did Asher ever have to call troopers into the office and lecture them on conduct? Was there ever a disagreement, an argument, a fist fight at post 11 between anybody, troopers? We don't know. We don't know. We're asking Asher and the detectives there. Was there? Answer it truthfully. Good thing about it is there's 4 people here. 4 people. You know, it's hard to get 2 people to get the same story when they're making something. When something's the truth, it's no problem because you just tell what happened. But when you're trying to make something up, it's hard for 2 people. Imagine 4 people. You find it?
Yeah, it was on this first page here,
I'm
baby.
sorry, baby. Where's it at? When did it out?
Here, his parents, Jack and Patty Edrington, and they became good friends of Doug.
By all accounts, he was a good trooper and good man.
Mhm.
Even now, over 3 decades after his death, he remains sorely missed. His parents, Jack and Patty Edrington, were wonderfully kind people. After the death of Edrington, they became dear friends of Doug and his family and remained so until both of their respective deaths. Really?
Mhm.
Well, I got news for you.
It's on the first page of that chapter.
If we are to believe what we've been told by people that should know,
Mhm.
that is a lie. If we're to believe, and we do,
Mhm.
we believe we got credible people that has no reason to, just like us, we got no reason to lie one way or the other. We got no side here. We want the truth.
He also said that Mr. Vincent DeMayo said it was a S side, but on the paper that
Yeah.
we've seen,
Yeah.
he said it was.
That's in his book.
Mhm.
Says in his book that Vincent DeMayo said it was more than likely a suicide, but he's going to rule it a homicide. Well, he did rule it a homicide. And that's what the paper says.
Mhm.
From everything I've looked at, all the evidence, it's a homicide.
Exactly.
I'm ruling this a homicide. He didn't
Mhm.
say this is probably a suicide, but I'm going to rule it. He didn't say that. He didn't say it in writing. He didn't say it on a phone call, unless he's got it on tape. If Mr. Asher has that on tape,
Mhm.
I'll apologize. I'm wrong. I don't
But
believe he ever said it. I
right.
can't believe a man in that position would make a comment like that and then rule something another way,
So,
especially when Asher didn't have contact with Vincent
DeMayo.
DeMayo. He didn't have contact because by then he was taken completely out of that. He wasn't supposed to have
He was
contact
removed.
with
Yeah.
nobody.
Mhm.
What was Asher and Johnny's relationship? Professional, friendly? Were they fishing buddies, hunting buddies? Did they hang
Mhm.
out together? How about the 3 detectives' relationship? Did they hang out together? Were they friends? Were they enemies?
Good question.
Lots of questions. Understand, we are not accusing anyone of anything,
Right.
but since Mr. Asher himself, a lieutenant colonel with 30 years with the Kentucky State Police, we are here to take him at his word and look at Johnny's death as a cover up. It's only fair. You know, are we to take this 30-year trooper that writes a book 30 years after his retirement and calls something a cover up in the state police? Are we supposed to believe everything we found? We found it's not. I'm not. We found things in his book that didn't compare with things that we found that were factual in writing.
Exactly. Yeah.
We found things in his book that wasn't factual according to family members
Yeah.
of Mr. Edrington. So are we to
Mhm.
believe? there's no saying, if I lie to you about one thing, I'll lie to you about something else. A lie is a lie. If you're not telling the truth, you're telling a lie. Now Sheila likes to say, "Oh, it's
Fib.
mistruth, a fib. It's a lie." Tell something that ain't truth, it's a lie. Why does the death certificate say homicide instead of undetermined? There was undetermined, and there was something else on there that it could have been marked. It was natural, accident, suicide, homicide, undetermined, and something else.
Pending.
Pending. Thank you, babe. Pending investigation.
Yeah.
It wasn't marked pending. It wasn't marked undetermined. It was marked homicide. They all agreed. Persistence. New technology today to analyze evidence. Relationships changed over the years. Maybe someone knew somebody back then, or was told something. Passage of time, relationships and friendships are not as strong anymore. You don't feel loyalty toward that person anymore. You don't care about rocking the boat. You say, "Hey, this is a big case to his child and his grandchildren. We're gonna tell you what happened."
They need to know that.
Identify and investigate mistakes, either intentional or accidental. There was mistakes in this case. Were they intentional? Were they accidental? Cold cases come about after investigators are exhausted. Google, how's cold cases come about? It's after the investigators they're so exhausted. They've exhausted all means. Okay, get the heck out of here and let's put some more investigators. Let's put some fresh eyes in on this. You guys are exhausted. You're wore out. You took it as far as you know to go with it. Let's put some new people on it.
That might be what it's going to take, is somebody from, not even from this area, somebody new coming in to look at everything with a different set
This
of
case
eyes.
can be solved with or without the state police. Would much rather have their help. Guys, once again, Sheila and I have nothing. Sold our house years ago. We live in an apartment, gave everything to our kids and grandkids. We have nothing.
Yep.
Sue all you want on us. We're trying to find the truth about who killed Trooper Edrington. We're not intentionally trying to defame, trying to insult, trying to
slander anybody.
We're not trying to at all. That's not our goal. Our goal is to get you to help us. Our goal is to prove to us that this was an S-side, or point us in the right direction of the homicide, or show us the case file and let us see where it takes us and see if we come up in the same spot you did at a dead end. If you want to sue us for attempting to find a KSP trooper's murder, have at it. That's up to you. We are going to file leads and we are going to ask questions. We're going to ask questions. We are not pointing fingers. We are investigating. We're pointing fingers at investigators. Did they do the correct investigation? They do the correct job. We're pointing fingers at post commander. Did he supervise his men correctly? Were his men fighting in the parking lot at post 11? What kind of post commander do we have running that? What somebody say one time? Who's running that dog and pony show?
Yeah.
Post 11. I'll tell you the truth about it. I don't think it's changed much from then to now. Okay, I got you. Don't kick me.
Y'all didn't see that.
Who knows? They didn't see it. It's underneath the table.
That's what I'm saying. Y'all didn't see it.
Who knows in the end?
Yeah.
We may solve this case and put it to rest after all the rumors. Put all these rumors to rest. Not Sheila and I. Sheila and I may be part of helping to solve the case, but it's these people out there that's contacted us, being contacted us, and new ones every day.
Like you say, there's no I in team.
No I in team. There's no I in the Marine Corps. Right there's an I.
Right.
There's no I. This is about us. This is about that man and his family. Sheila and I do not scare easy from suits or threats. So that is a clue to us that we.
I guess you're saying if that happens.
Some of the things that we're we're experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
That's a clue. It's a
Mm-hmm.
clue that maybe the person that done this or people that done this, they may still be alive. They may not be deceased yet, like some of these people that Mr. Asher quotes in his book. They're deceased. We can't go see if what he says they said is true or not because they're dead. But some of the things that's going on with us may very well be from somebody that knows something. That's interesting,
Mm-hmm.
to say the least. Makes me think, hey,
We're in the right
keep on
direction.
going, Fred. Keep on going, Sheila.
You'll get there.
We welcome all those that help, especially from we missed, maybe you missed something. Evidently you did, because the case has not been resolved. Was it from having a preconceived opinion too early and too proud to change their mind?
Mm-hmm.
On a side, we don't know.
Yeah. That's why we're asking for
That's why
We're
I'm
all's help.
asking for people's help. I started to stop this video at an hour, and I knew it didn't have that long to go. That's okay. They can watch it in parts. They don't have to watch it all. The people that watches this video is people that's trying to help us. They've got interested in this case, and they're thinking, and we may have said something here today
that jogged their memory.
that jogged your memory, or you may come up with a question and say, hey,
Yeah.
who did this? Who did that? Don't say no names.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to refer to the detectives, they're detectives. You don't have to pick none out.
Right.
If you want to refer to Lieutenant Asher, he's a trooper. These are troopers, but we just don't want, we're not going to slander people straight out
Right.
with remarks and accuse people with no
Evidence.
proof and evidence. Thank you, babe.
Mm-hmm.
It's not what this is about.
No.
This is about finding the truth. And them three detectives may very well be the ones
that hold it,
that help us find the truth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They may be Huntsinger, Asher. They may call us tomorrow and say, hey, come down here. We want you to see something.
This.
We've got something to show you.
Mm-hmm.
We want to show you something, and then see how you feel. And they may show us something, to be honest with you, short of a note or a video of him saying he's going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to convince us.
No.
But we'd still like to see what you got.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, certain parts of it. I don't want to see the actual.
No, I'd like to see the whole thing. I like to see it all.
I've seen enough of that.
I've seen plenty of it.
For me, personally.
Yeah, you just seen the one.
That was enough.
You've seen the one.
That was enough.
The more you see, the more you learn, the more you.
But then you become
guys,
complacent to it all.
Question. Phelps, Stewart, Lewis, Asher.
Mr. Huntsinger.
Well, I know he was there. You don't know what I'm going to ask.
No.
I know he was there. You done answered that one.
Okay.
Who was there for the autopsy?
Oh.
Which one of you? Because I know at least one trooper was there. I know that at least one. It's just going to happen like that.
Is it mandatory that they?
I don't think it's mandatory. It's probably policy, or it's probably out of respect. It's like, you remember that movie we like, the Marine, following the Marine home, bringing home Chase or something?
Yeah.
Was that the name of
Chase? Yeah.
And the
Chance.
Kevin Bacon.
Mm-hmm.
Escorts. That happens. That's true life for
Yeah.
Marines. That's the way Marines, probably each military, I don't know, but I know the Marines take care of the Marines.
Movie.
And they should have been at least one trooper in that autopsy. I would say that all three of them, and probably Asher. I would say.
Well, no, he said, oh, that wasn't for the autopsy. Never mind then.
Take your time.
No, I mean, just saying that he said that the next day.
Oh, that was at the funeral home.
Right.
They was taking him for the.
He was already in the back, and then Yeah.
Who was at the autopsy, guys? Maybe you can answer that for us.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Stewart, Mr. Lewis, Mr. Phelps. Just put it in the comments. 3 of us was there, or 2 of us was there, or I was there. We'd love to correspond with you. We would love for the people to be able to, and I'm sure the people would love it. No insults. No. As of right now, nobody's done nothing wrong. You're the investigating detectives. You guys are the closest thing that we have to this case. You're closer than the file because you lived it. You know it.
Well, and then all these questions that are coming out, maybe that might jog their memory on something, and I'm thinking, oh wow, yeah,
Yeah.
It's
never too late. Maybe they're thinking about something right now and they're thinking, hey, maybe it wasn't a S side now that we look back, or maybe a year later we realized it, but we was just too proud to say it. And then maybe they say, I believe it as hard today as I did back then that it was a S side. Believe it on what proof? It's not believing something. I believe a lot of things too, but
you can't go by looks.
We got to be able to prove them, especially when you're a veteran. We're going to dishonor a veteran.
Yeah.
Way over, babe. Way over. I'm sorry.
Extremely sorry.
Yeah, I'll give you something to watch this one in parts, guys.
Yeah.
I don't know when we'll do another one. We may not do another one for who knows. And then we may have another one tomorrow.
You never
It's just we lay down at night. Our pillow talk consists of Johnny Edrington.
It does, really.
That's our pillow talk.
Yeah, because we'll think
and
it's
then we get up and get the computers and start making notes, because as old as we are,
forget.
If we go to sleep after talking about it, we never comes back to us. This is a dear case to us, and it should be to you all. If you've got a son, if you've got a husband that was ever in the military, an uncle, if you've got a relative that was ever served in law enforcement,
that could be a son or a
you
daughter.
troopers out there,
mother.
See, we don't care how many views we get on this thing, but there should be 1,070 views.
Really?
There's every video we put out, there should be 1,070 views, because see, I see these, and I watch them all. I see these Police Memorial Week. I see all these troopers down there lined up. Said they've done it ever since he was buried.
Yeah.
They've done it every year. They do that to honor Johnny. You want to honor Johnny? Find his murderer. Exactly. You want to honor Johnny? Find his killer. There's 1,070 Kentucky State Troopers.
I was wondering how you come up with that number.
1,070. There should be 1,070 views from the Kentucky State Police thinking, who is this? Call me what you want. 40 years of police career, you can't call me nothing. I've never been called. I promise you. But call me whatever you want, but you should be watching the video just to see if is Fred making this stuff up, or is this
making sense?
Making sense. Is it making sense? This is one of our own, guys.
Yeah.
This is one of your own.
Yeah.
That could be you next week. This could happen to you and your mom and dad. Now, Jack and Patty went to their grave without ever finding out who killed their son.
Yeah.
And they were betrayed by some of the closest people they thought in the Kentucky State Police. They felt betrayed. We know this. We know this. Troopers, get busy.
If it was somebody else, like another trooper, they would want it to everything done.
Well,
to solve it.
Both of the troopers, the two brothers. One was a detective, Phelps.
Yeah.
Imagine one of the Phelps boys at the time, this being one of them, Johnny Edrington, and Johnny Edrington comes up to one of them and says, nah, that's an S side. Imagine how the other brother would have felt. That's his brother, not only his trooper brother, but his flesh and blood brother. Imagine how he would have felt within an hour or two of him deceased. Guys, it's not hard. If you went on evidence of just a gun placed in his hand, not hard at all to shoot somebody, put a gun in their hand. It's not hard. If that's what you went on, is the assumption that, well, he had a gun in his hand, so he had to off himself. Guys, we have got to get off here. Quit talking so much.
I know.
Thanks.
Thanks for watching. Hope we didn't bore you all too much. Like he said, watch it in increments or whatever if you like. Thanks for always tuning in, though, everybody. We can't do it without you all. Please like, subscribe, and share. And we'll catch you on the next one. God bless. Bye.